Hi, this is Scott Garibay. And today we're going to be continuing on the Unbound identity theory. Today we're going to talk about the who. Who brought about the Unbound identity theory? In my humble opinion, one person and one person alone. It is 100% on Gary Gygax. I think he started the Unbound identity. In my humble opinion, he created Unbound identity. He brought it into the world in 1974 with the publication of the first box set of Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, I actually think the idea came to. I actually think Gary Gygax determined what he was going to do when he was 14. Okay, there's a lot of. We're going to get into some of the history when we get to the why. We're going to talk about why 14 was when the inception of the idea came to him. Okay, but who brought Unbound identity into the world? In my humble opinion, one person and one person alone. And when I say alone, I mean alone. Right. So let's talk about this. Right. So it is my contention, with the Unbound identity theory, that Gary Gygax specifically, right, put into place Unbound identity in 1974. If he is creating a human improvement engine and disguising it as a game, okay, what does he need to do that? What does he need to do that? He needs secrecy, right? And the reality is, it is my contention that, it is my opinion that Gary Gygax did what he needed to do to deliver this human improvement engine to the world in 1974 by secrecy, starting in 1974. Starting when he was 14 years old. The concept, he had to carry it forward, and from 14 years old, it came into his head, and I don't think he told anyone what he was going to do. I don't think Gary Gygax told anybody about Unbound identity when he had the concept when he was 14, and I think he held the secret until he died in 2008, right? And I don't think he ever shared the secret, ever, that he had disguised a human improvement engine as a game. I don't think he told anyone, ever. No one around him, not his wives, right? Not his children, not his co-workers, not his friends, no one, okay? And I think no one in the world is responsible for Unbound identity becoming a reality, in my humble opinion, except for Gary Gygax. He is fully and thoroughly 100% responsible for Unbound identity, in my humble opinion. And the reason why is, I think he knew this. We're there now. We are 100% there now. We are in a post-secret society. People think they have secrets. They do not. We are constantly getting. You can't keep secrets. You cannot get Ivy League educated people who are on track to be Supreme Court justices to keep secrets. That's the level of secrecy failure today, right? And I think Gary knew this. I think he knew that if he told people that he was building a human improvement engine, right? And he wanted people to engage with it. There's no one would ever engage. If somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I have this human improvement engine. Would you like to use it to better your life?" What do you think your answer would be? It would be no, right? But Gary, I think, knew that this had to be done in secret, and the secrecy had to be 100%. Okay, and nothing he ever said, in my opinion, removed the shroud of secrecy. Okay, and a ton of things he said were, in my humble opinion, said very calculated to hide the secret that he had created this human improvement engine, and he had disguised it as a game, right? And I'm being tempted to, talk about the why now, but we're staying on the who. The who brought Unbound Identity into the world. 100%, in my humble opinion, it rests thoroughly, fully, wholly on the shoulders of Gary Gygax. And I will just take one moment and say it was an incredible, in my humble opinion, it was an incredibly heavy burden he carried the entirety of his life. I actually think it was part of one of the things that led, and I think it was an incredible strain to him, And what is the evidence of that? Let me give you some of what I believe is evidence of that. His relationships were broken with every single person he knew. I don't think he ever had a sound relationship with anybody on this planet, because he was hiding something from everyone. And I think he did it to help everyone, but he was hiding something from every person he knew, and I think they could all tell it at some level. Let's tick them off. Who did he have bad relationships? Divorce, wife number one, right there. Okay, the person who made Dungeons and Dragons become a reality, Brian Bloom, who literally gave the funding. Right, he gave $2,000. Gary Gygax gave $1,000. Don Kay gave another $1,000. Dungeons and Dragons manifested. The person who gave him the money to create Dungeons and Dragons estranged within a little over a decade. Right? Lorraine Williams, he picked her to be president of TSR, estranged within 6 months. Okay? Bad relationships, left, right, and center. His relationship with his TSR co-workers was so bad, he chose to leave in 1986. Gary Gygax was not fired. He was not ousted. He quit of his own volition. That is a fact. You'll find that in the source listed below. Right? And his relationships were broken massively, left, right, and center. Right? And I believe, and it is my humble opinion, that came from him holding this specific secret, right, in his life. So, and I think it was a terrible burden upon him. But I also think he was 100% right. I think if he had told anyone, right, they would have circled back around and reached a point where they were. They would have circled around. They would circle around and told the secret. Kafka, the guy who wrote Metamorphosis, he told one of his best friends to burn everything he ever wrote, and his friend published it. Right? We are in a post-secret society. I think Gary knew it. It's 100% on Gary. All that's my opinion. I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.